Then, 2018 came around, and because my partner Vanessa had begun her own painting obsession, I found myself struck with inspiration. I was able to acquire a large pad of paper and some black and blue pens, and I ran away with it. There's always been an allure to abstract art, in that it can show you the impossible. Abstract is broad, open, and seemingly limitless for expression and creativity. And even though I was only using 2 colors, I felt like I was able to pull worlds out of the depths of the pen. I could showcase all of these strange dimensions enveloping each other. There's something organically refreshing about the strange shapes that show up on the page. I like that I can't predict how a given piece will turn out, but I can guarantee that something interesting will be happening. I want to dazzle the eyes with my pieces, almost like an abstract version of Where's Waldo. I want texture and shape and movement in my pieces. I want to feel dynamic and intriguing. After feeling such enthusiasm for this first new piece, I craved for something new and different. I liked working with the black and blue, but knew that I needed to bring more vibrant elements into my art. I had started working on a piece after my first one was done, but felt that it would begin to feel too repetitive if I continued using only black and blue. But what was I missing? Of course, it was color. Color changed everything for me. Being able to finally bring something new and exciting to the table was exactly what I wanted. And the new colored additions I made turned an interesting piece into something that I still consider as one of my favorite pieces, even after creating hundreds of new pieces since that first 2018 piece. It's a piece that still speaks to me, still shows an emotion that sits within me. It's a piece that is a reflection of my own mental illness, a reflection of feeling trapped and simultaneously pulled in many directions at once. But beyond feeling trapped, there's still the blossoming power of the right hand literally exploding with creativity, colors, and patterns which form the background. With all these colors at my disposal, I quickly went to work creating a myriad of abstract pieces. At first, I was exclusively using colored pens to create my works, which used a lot of my previous experience with contouring lines that I learned about in high school. But now I was able to use multiple colors to create my contours, which really changed the look of whatever section I was working on. I had never used so many colors in many pieces before, so this was a really exciting time for me of exploration. I liked how I could never tell exactly what would happen before it was finished, but I knew I wanted to incorporate everything I knew and try to start doing more things that I hadn't quite tried before. Using a lot of contours also meant that when a piece was finished, if you rolled your fingertips over the surface of the page, it would feel so strange and bumpy and interesting. Some lines were practically carved into the page, and each section might feel vastly different from the others. In 2019, things began to shift when I first began to bring markers back into the equation. I had a Prismacolor set back in 2008, but after that I had never picked up another set since the first one. I've acquired a very nice selection as of 2022, but for a long time I had worked only in pens, which have their limitation but were great at doing what I needed. But markers are just a different experience. You can get a lot of pigment and coverage out of them, and if you have alcohol markers, you can blend the colors together and create beautiful gradients. So I began using both markers and pens in my pieces, combining the precision of the pens with the coverage and blending power of markers. This combination worked very well for a while, allowing my abstracts to become these hybrid creations of strong lines and strong colors. Through almost the entirety of 2020, So I began using both markers and pens in my pieces, combining the precision of pens with the coverage and blending power of markers. This combination worked very well for a while, allowing my abstracts to become these hybrid creations of strong lines and strong colors. Through almost the entirety of 2020, I continued to stay strong with that hybrid style, though marker became more and more prevalent until around December of 2020. After that point, they basically gained a monopoly, and nowadays I don't really employ the color pens at all. I think I've moved on from using the pens like I used to. Markers provide pretty much everything I need now, and they're also a lot easier to use now that I've spent so much time with them and learned some of the subtleties and nuances of different kinds of strokes and markings. Another big trend that developed since 2020 were the portraits, which have since become some of my favorite pieces of all time. I really love doing portrait work, and in a lot of ways, it's really helped me to grow and improve as an artist. I also love seeing people react to a portrait of themselves or their pet. It's very fulfilling to know that it's my own hand that actually managed to produce some portraits that I never could have imagined creating before. But I feel that making these have really changed my life forever and for the better. Since I started, I've created so many, and I look forward to doing many, many more. Now, in 2022, I can look back at all of these pieces I've made and appreciate how much of a journey it's been to get here. I found a lot of satisfaction in creating these pieces over the last few years, and I'm really looking forward to exploring what I've made so far. I deal with a lot of self-doubt at times, so having so many satisfying outlets has been really helpful. I hope that these pieces I've made can show some of the beauty and strangeness of art, both abstract and concrete. Abstract art can be so much more than what some people think it is. It can be complex, it can be simple, it can be thought-provoking, and it can be nonsensical. When it comes to art, one thing always remains true. You're going to get out of it what you choose to put into it. Thank you for watching.
Stuck in this dead end, waiting for this pain to begin.